Good morning, everybody. Oh my heavens, my head is cut off. Hang on. And here I was all excited that I thought I had it right on the first try. I mean, really, what would this be without the random camera adjustments? Let's try that again. It's still cut off. All right, third time's the charm, my loves. Here we go. Do. All right. Surely we've got it now. Do I have a head now? Let's see. Yep, but I'm crooked. Y'all, why do you put up with me? Probably because we have a good time together, right? Here, I'm going to actually come behind it this time. Bless you all. All right, here we go. This is the downside of live, right? That I can't edit this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to String and Story. My name is Holly Ann Knight. I'm the Chief Everything Officer and primary goofer offer around here. And it's my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. I see lots of you here. Hang tight. Let me get over to this video because I'm so excited to see who's here with me this morning. Oh my heavens. You guys. Dun, da, da, da. Hey, Terry. Hey, Mary. Hey, Carissa. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Terry again. Funny say, I know. Hey, Lori. Hey, Tina. Hey, Gina. Hey, Debbie. Did I get everybody so far? Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here with me. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh, y'all. This week, we are on day, what's today, Thursday? Day 4.5 of Hubster being gone. He's in San Francisco this week. He's at the Dreamforce conference, if any of y'all are familiar with Salesforce, which I can't tell you anything about other than that. I was going to sound like I knew what it was. It's not going to work. Anyway, he's in San Francisco having a big old time, getting lots of swag, meeting lots of cool people, and I've been here with the boys. And last night, we all kind of hit our limit, and I called him this morning, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for you to come home. So he'll be back late tomorrow night after social hour. It's cold there. Oh my heavens, Deborah. It is not that cold here. I mean, I have on like a tank top, as you can see, and like linen pants. My heavens, my heavens. All right, guys. Lots of reminders this morning. First of all, make sure you answer the question of the week today. I asked you about what is the number one thing you want to know about choosing colors and fabrics for your quilt. The reason that I'm asking this is because, dun da da da, our next series is going to be on choosing fabrics for your quilts. Back during the summer stash busting challenge, I did a video called How to Make Any Pattern Scrappy, and y'all loved it. We had so much fun. I did it as a trunk show kind of style class for you guys here on a Thursday morning, and y'all really, really liked that. So I want to take that concept and really expand it and talk more broadly about choosing fabrics. Y'all know I have a class called Intro to Color Theory. This is not going to be the same content that's in the class. Next week is kind of an introduction. I will do a flyby of color theory for you guys. And if you want the detailed, the kind of deep dive on color theory, that's inside the class. But then we're actually just going to work on fabric pulls and what are things to think about when you're choosing fabrics for a quilt based on how many fabrics are called for in the pattern. Because you're going to think about things a lot differently if you need 2 fabrics versus if you need 5 fabrics, right? So we're going to go week by week, and that'll take us basically up till Thanksgiving. But I want to make sure that your questions get answered as part of that series. So this is your opportunity to ask them. It's not your last opportunity, but this is a really good opportunity to go ahead and tell me what's on your mind, what are you struggling with. The really cool thing about this series, and I did not think of this ahead of time. I had come up with the idea for doing this series, and then I looked at the way it lines up with the dates. The really cool thing about this series is the way that it's going to overlap with Bonnie publishing the colors for this year's mystery quilt. So if you see her colors and you go, this is great, but I want to use stuff from my stash and I don't have those colors, the stuff that we're going to learn as part of this series will really help you choose your fabrics for Bonnie's mystery this year too. So the timing is just right. Lots of good mornings. Hello, hello. Fall is in the air. How exciting. Color and contrast. Perfect, Debbie. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, so make sure you guys are answering that question. And the other reason you should answer that question, and let me see what I put in here. I think I put in here, yeah, we're going to give away another copy of Aldebaran. So Amy Mills, you won last week. If you already have Aldebaran, then you can choose another pattern from the ones that I already have released. Just email me at stringandstory@gmail.com, Amy, and let me know. And we're going to do the same giveaway again next week because we're getting this quilt along started. Which, before I go any further, I need to hit share over the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. If you are here with me, will you also hit share, hit like, and then hit share? And share this to your page or to your favorite quilting group or to your Quilting Besties page, any of those places. And invite them to come hang out with us. I love offering this class for you guys each Thursday morning. And I love for new friends to come join. So hit like, hit love, hit share, and then I'll continue on with my reminders in just a second. By the way, if you're on a Mac, I don't know the combination if you're on a PC, but if you hit Command-Control-Space, you can bring up the emojis on your Mac. Just a sidebar, if you ever wanted to use emojis when you're on your computer. All right, so thank you for those of you who are hitting share. I so appreciate that. Lorraine, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us. This is your first time. How wonderfully exciting. Wonderfully exciting. Patsy, even I am behind on Lanterns of Hope. It turns out that quilting 2 large quilts on your domestic while also writing 4 quilt patterns creates this kind of time crunch situation where nothing gets done quite as quickly as you would like it. I'm hoping to finish, I'm going to spend this afternoon free motion quilting, and I'm hoping to basically finish quilting the Moda Bake Shop quilt and also finish quilting my Lanterns of Hope because I want to show them off to you guys and I'm ready to use them because it's rainy here, so it's not actually like cold, but it definitely brought the temperature down. Okay, there we go. Now I can actually see what you guys are saying. Wonderful, wonderful. Choosing the fabrics is a real head scratcher. Oh, Tina, well that's perfect. So we're going to do a whole series on things you can think about. And hopefully it'll make it less of a head scratcher. So, what I was saying, the giveaway this week is another copy of the Aldebaran quilt pattern because I am so excited about the quilt along that we are starting on the Quilting Rockstars Facebook page tomorrow night. So it'll look just like this, but it'll be inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. There's a link in the caption of this video. There's also a link in the caption of this video to the Aldebaran pattern. So if you're wanting to jump in with us tomorrow night, go ahead and get yourself a copy. If you have not seen the quilt, here is my first sample of Aldebaran. It's a triangle and hexagon based quilt with some string piecing. This one I did in lovely punch you in the face colors. You guys know I love my punch you in the face colors. And the Y seams joining these hexagons are optional. You can also piece this in rows. The cool thing about doing this as a quilt along is that you're going to get to practice those Y seams. So if you're like, I really want to learn Y seams, but I really want someone to hold my hand through the process, participate in our quilt along. Ooh, excuse me. Winifred, you said, I would like to mix textures in a quilt at some point. Made a baby quilt, hesitated. Oh yeah. That would be really cool. A la crazy quilting, right? Learn how to add contrast. Perfect, perfect. Guys, I love these answers that you guys are giving. Oh, so fantastic. Now, if you are not a punch you in the face with your colors kind of person, these are the fabrics that I'm using for my second version of Lanterns of Hope. So my blocks will be these lovely neutrals that are here at the bottom, and then I'm going to have some little pops of colors with the gray, orange, and blue. So it's a versatile pattern so far. I have seen some rainbow color pulls. I've seen some blues and yellows. I've seen some red, white, and blues. I saw some purples at one point. There's going to be so many different varieties. I'm so excited. And if you have gifts that you want to give quilts as gifts this Christmas, this is a great pattern because it comes together very quickly. We're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure that you enter the giveaway this week to get yourself a free copy. And make sure that if you're wanting to jump on with us tomorrow night that you go ahead and get a copy. So links for all of that are in the Facebook group. Again, thank you to all of you that I can see that hit share. I really appreciate that. That really helps this video get out to all the people and all the quilters, which is so much fun. Mixing prints. Yes, Teresa! Mixing prints is my favorite, as you can see on here. Now, did I hit all my reminders? Aldebaran. Tomorrow night, we will be doing social hour. We'll be starting our Lanterns of Hope, or our Aldebaran quilt along. We will start with block assembly. I'm wanting this quilt along, our quilt top, to be together by the time the rest of the patterns come out. So we're going to do one color of blocks each week. So like in my sample, like it would be orange one week, aqua one week, navy one week, pink one week. And then the 5th week, we're going to assemble the quilt top. So go ahead and have your pieces for at least your first color's worth of blocks cut. Have your string piecing done. There's a link inside the pattern to the tutorial I did over the summer about string piecing if you're not familiar with that technique. And it's a great video, great blog post, so it should answer all your questions. And of course, you're always welcome to ask questions inside the Facebook group if you need additional help. I obviously still need to work on mine. Haven't done that yet. It's on the list for tonight. And that'll be inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group, so we will have social hour tomorrow night. And then Hubster gets back right after that. So y'all are going to help me kind of pass the last couple of hours while I wait. You know, you can always work on something else, Teresa, and play catch up because it comes together quick, right? So, all right, today, this is going to be our last day working on this quilt. I debated going one more week on it, but to be perfectly honest with you, my brain needs to have room for all these wonderful patterns that I'm working on for you guys. And I think I'm ready to move on to the Choosing Fabric series. So we are working on these monkey wrench variation blocks today. The alternative, if you did the Moda Bake Shop quilt along, was an orange peel block. And by the way, if you did the Moda Bake Shop Choose Your Own Adventure quilt along this summer, and have been quilting along with me, even if you're using your own quilting plans, or if you've been using this series as inspiration for some of your own free motion quilting, when we wrap up here today, please hop over into the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group and share pictures of your work. I would love to see what you've been working on these last 6 weeks as we've been quilting together. This has been a fun series. I'm really excited to get this quilt on my guest bed. I'm like so ready to paint the guest room, and I'm hoping getting this quilt in there will be kind of the final kick in the butt that I need to get it done. You have your go-to colors, which keeps you staying safe. Is a color wheel really helpful to stretch yourself? Marianne, yes, a color wheel is really helpful to stretch yourself. And if you want to know how to use that color wheel, I recommend my class, Intro to Color Theory. So stringandstory.com/classes, and you'll see all my offerings there, and the Intro to Color Theory class. I take you through kind of the primary structures of the color wheel and the most common ways of thinking about color. You can dive even a little deeper than I do in that class, but it just gets a little bit too much for any normal human's brain to handle, or to hold kind of in there. So I talk through 4 or 5 different ways to split up a color wheel and create color combos. So yes, I think a color wheel is extremely helpful, and I recommend my Intro to Color Theory class in order to show you how to use that color wheel and not just looking at it going, that's pretty, but now what, you know? I have not used a 3-in-1 color tool, Deborah, but I've got a background in painting, so I've grown up using the color wheel. So that's what my class is based around. All right. Here's the tricky thing about this, guys. Oh, the first tricky thing is that I've gotten this all woven under here, and I need to test my tension. The other tricky thing is that I'm still kind of deciding what quilting plan I'm going to do. So I'm going to test my tension, and then I'm going to open my notebook back up, and I'm going to take another look. I think I'm going to do some feathers in some of the triangles with switchbacks in the center is what I'm leaning towards at the moment. But I'm going to get it under my needle and then make a final decision. All right. All I'm doing here is creating some swirls on this practice piece that will enable me to take a look at the tension on this. Tension issues are most common on curves and points. Swirls happen to have both because you swirl into a point and then you bounce back out. And that's very, very handy. Let me get my handy dandy slimline light over here. It's looking quite good, actually. Which, to be perfectly honest, I expected it to look quite good because I've been quilting with 50-weight thread for a couple of hours, but it's always good to double check with a new bobbin or a new spool of thread. And I did just wind this bobbin and put new thread in here. So it's always just a good idea to double check your tension. Lorraine, I know you mentioned you are new. If there's anyone else new here and you are not familiar with my Intro to Free Motion Quilting class, I invite you to sign up, stringandstory.com/intro-to-FMQ workshop or stringandstory.com/classes, and then you'll just click on the Intro to Free Motion Quilting class. It is a free online class that teaches you meanders, loopy meanders, swirls, and switchbacks, and other important things like how to set up your machine for free motion quilting, how to use doodling to master your motifs before you ever start on a quilt. It's an absolutely foundational class. So if you're a very baby beginner free motion quilter, and you're wanting to know where to start, that class is available for free on demand all the time, because I want you to be able to try it out and kind of get over the initial hump of getting started without having to make an investment. So that is there. And then I'm here every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. doing a free class or demo of some sort. And I'm so glad that you're here with me. One of your kitties is sunbathing on your AccuQuilt. Lynn, that is just the sweetest. Oh my heavens. Hey, Anne. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Vicky. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let me get a sip of water. And I'm going to double check what quilting plan I'm wanting to do here. Been thinking about this all morning and have not arrived at a satisfactory conclusion. I think I'm going to do the feathers on the outside because I'm using this kind of dark aqua, so it'll mix well with both the turquoise and the navy. All right, so I'm going to do this quilting plan here that's right under my finger, which y'all saw this on the blog if you've read the blog. If you've not read the blog, there's a link to the blog. But I'm going to do feathers and ribbon candy. All right, and I'm going to look at it now. If I start here, ooh, what if I start here? So start in the middle, ribbon candy out, feathers up, ribbon candy down. I'm figuring out the best way to move around my block without breaking thread or having to do too much stitching in the ditch. That's sometimes easier said than done. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the feathers all the way around. And then I'm going to do the ribbon candy at the center, and I'll travel in the ditch along the side of this cross. And then in the ditch over here and across. So I'll have a little bit of ditch traveling, but I think I'll be less likely to miss a section. For those of you who are wondering about this block that I'm working on, the Moda Bake Shop Quilt Along the Summer called it Shore View. It is similar to a monkey wrench block or a Puss in the Corner block. I took a poll over in Quiltville and asked if anyone had, what their best guesses at the proper name of this block was. And I think it's a couple of different blocks kind of combined. So I'm just calling it a monkey wrench variation for the time being. Quilt show. Oh yes, Veronica, Daylight does do good specials at the show. I also have affiliate links on my website. If you go to stringandstory.com/Amazon Picks, it's my favorite, Picks. It's all my favorite products on Amazon, including this Daylight Slimline. This is the Daylight Slimline table model with the table clamp. So you might be able to see it. It's actually clamped onto the edge of my table. If your table is too thick, and some tables are, I think my table where it's clamped is maybe 2 inches. I think it can be up to 2.5 inches thick. If your table is too thick, I also have the floor model that I love, and it basically sits on the floor. I don't like the tabletop model because when I'm free motion quilting, I don't want anything that can get knocked off. That's really frustrating. And some of y'all probably remember before this series started, I actually had a white tablecloth on this brown table right in front of me to brighten up the room a bit, and I ended up having to take it off because when I'm free motion quilting, just everything's moving around. So I don't like my lights to sit on the table. They can either clamp on the table or they can sit on the floor next to me and come up and around. I love this lamp. I have 3 of this lamp, and I have a lot of Daylight products. I have 3 Slimlines, the wafer light box, the Lumi lamp, the Luminous lamp, the Smart Travel lamp, the Yo-Yo light, and the D40. So I have a lot of Daylight products. I love their products. I love sharing about their products. I love working with them. I cannot recommend this light enough. And I'll be talking about this light a lot in the next series because the white balance on this light is so perfect that I do not choose fabrics without one of my Daylight lamps shining on it because it makes the color so clear. It's absolutely fantastic. All right. So I always shove it out of the way when I'm quilting or when I'm on camera because it gets kind of distracting, but I'm crazy about that light. Yes, I love that I can just swing it out of the way too. Because so normally when I'm piecing, I keep it right, it's like just below my eyes. So when I'm looking down at my machine, it's not in my way. If I'm doing something really detailed, I'll actually pull it down like chest height. So I'm looking over it. It's great for photos. And I can just shove it out of the way when I don't need it. Oh, wonderful. Winifred, look at you guys networking. How much is too much? Pattern mixing. Oh, like prints. I gotcha. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yes, I love daylight. Love, love, love. Perfect. Yay. All right, let's get quilting, guys. I'm going to start with these feathers. I've tested my tension. I've got my quilt. I have as much of my quilt as possible kind of up out of my way. I've accounted for my edges, so I'm not going to sew the back of my quilt to itself because that's always really unfortunate. And then this bit that's in my lap, you'll notice I'm going to have my quilt going uphill so that as I work down this row, I have less and less in my lap. And so it gets easier and easier to quilt. In many ways, this quilt on the whole is getting easier to quilt because we're finally getting out toward the edges and I don't have quite as much under my throat space, which is really, really nice. These feathers, I'm actually doing a half feather. So there's half square triangles in the corners of these blocks, and I'm going to use that seam as my spine. This is a wonderful way to practice feathers. I have a feather tutorial on my blog. I think it's stringandstory.com/blog/ it's either feathers or intro to feathers. I don't remember what. If you search feathers on my blog, you'll find it. But doing these half feathers where you have a seam as the spine is a fantastic way to learn feathers because you're not worried about like making a spine and maybe retracing it or doing feathers backwards down one side. Like it's just a lot less complicated to just work up the spine. Okay, see? Yay! Oh, that's nice, Len, when there's one. I really like the stainless steel look of the Daylight Slimlines. We've got one in our library. I have one over my pressing board. I like the clean, modern look. It's really, really lovely. So it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't look like a task light, you know? It just looks like a pretty light. All right, so I'm doing my feathers. I like to do bump back feathers, where you just retrace at the very end. I'm just following this seam. Now, feathers, there's two things that are very important with feathers. You want to fill the space, and you want them to touch each other. If you put a lot of space between your feather fronds, it starts to look a little funky. It starts to look like kind of a gap, you know, a little bit of a gapey smile. And so the beauty of feathers that what we love about feathers is their movement, and that happens because they're smushed up on each other, right? So then I'm gonna do the same thing in the next one. You know, I just put a new needle in this last night, and I feel like it's sticking a little bit. It's kind of annoying. Now, did you see my shoulders move there? I was concentrating, and so I was hunching my shoulders up. And that will give you all kinds of neck and shoulder pain. So make sure you relax those shoulders, let them fall down. I'm sitting up straight, I'm not leaning over my machine. All of these little posture bits are things that are gonna enable me to quilt for hours at a time without having a lot of physical pain. I can stop and stretch my neck if I need to, stretch my shoulders. Hey Lisa, good to see you, friend. How are the storms up there? I was just up in Duncan on Tuesday. I saw like my uncle's pecan tree, you know, like all the pecans had blown off. Saw a lot of like leaves and kind of general debris, but nothing too alarming. But and I used my uncle's yard as kind of a good test because he's been out of town. But how are things for you, Lisa, in the wake of Florence and now with more storms coming through? Lisa lives about, I don't know, Lisa, you probably live 15 minutes from my grandfather or something like that. So I can always kind of wave her general direction whenever I'm up there. All right, I've got one more feather. Ooh, I love how this aqua is showing up on this navy fabric. It looks so cool. Again, checking my posture, making sure my back is nice and straight. Okay, so I've done the feathers. You know what? I have a spare block. Let me find it. This way I can show you guys what I've done. Okay. So what I just did is I started here, and I did feathers, that half feather using this seam as my spine. Around, I traveled in the ditch, then went down, traveled in the ditch, down, ditch, down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to begin putting switchbacks. Might do ribbon candy. Ribbon candy in this center spot, and then I'll stitch in the ditch and do ribbon candy, and then I'll stitch in this stitch to do the same thing to come down vertically. Okay, so just to give you guys an idea of the path that I'm taking, and it'll feed me into the next block. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do ribbon candy. I feel like I've done a lot of switchbacks on this already. All right. As I'm working on this, guys, if you have questions about free motion quilting or anything like that, whether it's directly related to this or it just kind of this made you think of your question, this is a great opportunity to ask any questions you guys have about the free motion quilting process and technique. Oh, y'all, this thread is so pretty. So, guys, I'm quilting this with an Aurifil 50 weight. I love Aurifil because it's made with a long staple cotton. That the 50 weight is a very fine thread, but it's also a very strong thread because of the type of cotton that Aurifil uses. And then it also has, the way they make the thread, it has a lovely little shine to it. So not like sometimes things have an icky shine. This has a really elegant shine to it that just adds a little bit of light to the quilt. And I love using the 50 weight because I can do really heavy quilting and get a lot of texture, but without a lot of bulk. So it doesn't add a lot of bulk to the seams of my quilt, and it does not create stiffness. I know sometimes people are very hesitant to do custom quilting because they're concerned about the stiffness, and with this 50 weight, I don't get that. Tina, am I going to the Asheville Quilt Show this weekend? No, I'm not planning on it because after Hubster being gone, that would just be quite a hike and be away from him again. Yes, having good light is absolutely amazing, Lori. The one thing I will really caution you guys about with aughts, and the reason that I strongly prefer daylight, is aught lights can get very, very hot, and that can be really dangerous, especially when something's up against your face like this. If this light got hot, that'd be like a curling iron right on your face. And these lights never get hot, and I love that so much. They also last forever. They're a high-quality LED. I'm crazy about daylight lamps, in case you couldn't tell. But Tina, tell me more about the Asheville Quilt Show. I haven't actually looked at a whole lot of info about it because I'm going to be home this weekend, but happy to hear more about it. Though I have to admit, Asheville, that would be a great excuse to go up towards the mountains. Okay, now you've got me curious. I'm going to Google it, Tina, and see how far it is from me. Let me see. You guys, is the Asheville Quilt Guild 2018 Friday and Saturday? Oh, but Saturday. Sunday? 10 a.m. to 4? No, I can't get there in time. Let's see. Oh, it sounds so pretty. Alright, let me see where it's at. WNC Agricultural Center. See what you did? Now you've got me all like, oh, this could be fun. Probably this. Directions from home. Oh, that's not nearly as far as I thought it might be. It's only like 3 hours. Ooh, and it's right near Nantahala National Forest. Okay, I will slightly amend my previous statement. I will talk to Hubster about it. You can do it in a day. You're just in Asheville. Oh, Winifred, that you're enabling me. It's a really good quilt show. You're going Sunday. I can't go Sunday, I know, because we have nursery and we'll be at church like all day. But Saturday could be an option. I might ask Hubster, because we've been wanting to go for a scenic drive up in Nantahala National Forest, that mountain area up there. And that's getting nice and close to Pisgah, too. So, if Hubster's up for it, I might ask him about it. Great Apple Orchard. Oh, I've been to Skytop. Okay, you guys are terrible enablers. You know that? Terrible enablers. If I decide to go, which I may not know until Saturday morning, it might be that we have to wake up and see how we all feel on Saturday. If I decide to go, I will post in the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. And I'll put it on my Instagram stories and all that stuff. So I will let you guys know. But it would be Saturday if we can go. So I'll keep you posted, you enablers, you. But that'll mostly be up to Hubster. We'll have to see how he's feeling. Because he'll have been in California for a lot of days at that point. And he may just want to hang out at home. You lived in Nashville for many years. Oh, that's really cool, Winifred. I didn't know that about you. Alright, so where I ended with this ribbon candy, ooh, that looks so nice, guys. Don't worry, I'll pull this off and show you guys up close in a minute after I do a few more blocks. Where I ended with that ribbon candy coming down kind of the center of the block, I can go straight into the feathers for the next block. So this will enable me to be able to go all the way around this quilt, well, until my bobbin runs out. So not quite without breaking thread, because my bobbin will run out at some point. But I won't be having to break thread just to move from one block to the next, which is really nice. I call this efficiency in quilting, and taking some time at the beginning, like I did verbally with you guys, to just look at the block and go, okay, if this is what I want to quilt on it, how can I move around this space in the most effective way possible, and be able to go straight from one block to the next. Taking that time to, it's kind of the next level of your quilting plan. Like making a quilting plan is knowing what you're going to quilt where, but taking it that next step and figuring out your kind of roadmap is a very valuable skill to develop. Hey, Amy, you won! Send me an email. You won Aldebaran, but if you already have Aldebaran, then you can pick a different pattern. Just so you know. 7:30 a.m. Oh yeah, because are you California time? Are you in California, Amy? Hubster's in San Francisco right now, so Lynn says the chief enabler. Aye, Captain. You wouldn't be doing this quilt along if it wasn't for me. Oh, you know. Yes, you need to buy some more Aurifil. Let me know if you need me to send you some links, Lynn. So, Amy, you won. Email me, stringandstory@gmail.com. And if you already have Aldebaran, let me know what quilt pattern you want from my shop. Just so you know. Lynn, it's fun to be an enabler. It's fun to be enablers for each other. That's why this is a party, right? Like, it's a positive peer pressure kind of party. That's what we do around here. It's quilting peer pressure. It's fine. I haven't been to a quilt show since QuiltCon, so that sounds really nice to go see some quilts, see some people. That could be super duper fun. Yes, Amy! Yes! Yes, yes, yes! I was actually, when you won today, and I saw your comment of like, no, I'm just gonna watch. And then, like, yours was the comment I landed on when I was doing my random choosing. And I was so excited because I was like, now she has to quilt along! So, you know, I'm really happy. That's kind of the point of these giveaways right now is, you know, to enable you. But, which, by the way, Amy, I know you said you were doing a craft fair. I don't know if you're going to sell quilts in your booth. But you could make and sell Aldebaran. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying. So if you want to be able to file it mentally under craft show prep, there you go, babe. All right. Hey, Julie, I'm so glad you're here. Minnesota. How cold is it in Minnesota today? I'm hearing that some of my dear northern friends are already getting some cool weather. Vicky, have you gotten snow yet? I saw you were on here earlier. Are you still here? I don't think you have. I feel like I would have seen pictures, but now I'm wondering. Guys, I'm so excited that I found a thread color that works on the aqua and on the navy. Which, truth be told, I haven't quite finished quilting these granny squares yet. And I'm thinking about switching thread colors now. Because the aqua that I'm using, I'm now starting to wonder if it's just a little too light. I'll think about that in a minute. 51 degrees, that's freezing. Amy, where are you? You're 3 hours behind me, but where? Because brr, I don't like cold. You people who live in these cold climates, I have so much respect. Because I would never make it. I'm so bad at dressing for winter. My winter wardrobe is very ugly, as y'all will be condemned to observe as we continue doing our live videos. Such good grief, y'all. Check your shoulders if you're quilting with me. Make sure they're not creeping up on you. Alright, I'm catching things in my stitches. Oh, shoot. Well, come on. There. Alright. Y'all, as you're hopping on, by the way, Amy, you're in Alaska? How did I miss that? What part of Alaska? I have family in Kenai and Anchorage. Just sidebar, randomly. That's so cool, by the way. Alaska's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Which, Amy, if you make Aldebaran, will you take pictures of it in the snow for me that I can share on my social media? Because I want pictures of these quilts in the snow so badly, but I don't get snow here. Which is funny because, like, I don't like winter, but I just totally have a bee in my bonnet about wanting pictures of these quilts in snow. So those of you who are quilting along with me, and those of you who buy the rest of the patterns when they come out and make those quilts, take pictures in the snow for me so I can share them. Because I really want to see these quilts in snow. Like, really badly. Really badly. North Pole, you're so cool. You are so cool. No pun intended, but Julie, how did I start quilting? It's a good question. So I have always been a very tactile person and been fascinated by fabrics and the like. Briefly took sewing lessons making like doll clothes and stuff when I was in elementary school. And I liked it a lot, but I always worked on my teacher's sewing machine. She was a neighbor of ours, and I took care of her dog after school every day. They had a Sheltie named Harley. And Mom and I would go over when I got out from school and take Harley out because Rosemary and Bob, you know, were at work all day. And that was just a really long time for a dog to go without going out. And she was getting older and whatnot. Anyway, so I would take care of the dog all week. And then on Saturday, Rosemary would spend part of her day teaching me how to sew. And so kind of got introduced to, I don't know why I just messed up my own quilting plan, guys. Notes on that. Oh well. That's what ditches are for. I went down and to the right instead of going all the way down. That's okay. So I was introduced to sewing. It kind of laid dormant. I've always been very creative. I paint, I knit, I draw a little bit. I mostly paint. And then when I guess it was right after I had Jem. So it was not before I had babies. It was after I had my first baby. My mom was really wanting a t-shirt quilt. And I had seen t-shirt quilts and they were super cool. Yay, Lynn! Gives you time to make it. Perfect, Amy. My mom was wanting a t-shirt quilt. The only place we knew locally at the time, I know lots of people who make them now, but at the time I only knew this one lady, and she was like way across town, and just a little bit like outside the budget that my mom was wanting to spend. And a friend of mine sewed and was willing to give me a little teeny tiny Kenmore sewing machine just because I wanted to play around. Like, I was already kind of interested in picking back up the sewing thing, but wasn't sure what form it would take. So I convinced my mom, bless my mother, what a brave woman. I convinced my mom to let me make a t-shirt quilt with these like precious, irreplaceable t-shirts she had. I hadn't sewn since I was 8. I'd never made a t-shirt quilt. Did not know how to properly use a rotary cutter. Yes, I cut my finger open. But I made her a rag style t-shirt quilt during, Jim's nap times each day. And like, part of me hated the process because I had very insufficient equipment for what I was doing. But part of me also loved it. And as I was like researching t-shirt quilts, I stumbled upon Angela Walters and her free motion quilting work. And it was stunning. And then about that same time was when the Modern Quilt Guild was getting started and really starting to gain momentum. And I was seeing these gorgeous, striking modern quilts. And so then I started listening to podcasts, and I discovered Bonnie Hunter and just the color play and the scrappiness of it. And just like every time I found something new, I loved all of it. I was like, I love these traditional quilts. I love these modern quilts. I love the free motion quilting thing. Like, what is all of this? And I fell down the rabbit hole really hard and really fast. So Jim will be 4 at Christmas. So that was, I guess, not quite 4 years ago. Probably 3.5 years ago. And I've been hooked ever since. Hey, Cindy. Way to go, Lynn. Yes, Amy, you need to get some snow. Perfect, perfect. You'll have snow in no time, kind of, unfortunately. I'm sorry. So everything from there, I'm sorry, I already forgot who asked me that question. Let me look. Everything from there, Julie, I've been basically self-taught. I just do a lot of practice and I fool around with things. And of course, I've made lots and lots of friends in the industry, so I have lots of people that I've been able to like ask questions to. But I went to school to be a teacher, and as I started free motion quilting and I was just sharing my work, I was getting more and more questions about what I was doing. And so that's how I started teaching, which I'm totally in love with teaching. I love being a teacher. I love helping other people learn and grow and see their potential and their skills and their creativity. So it just ended up being an absolutely perfect fit that I could teach quilting, especially since I'm home with my babies. And I can, do almost all my work from home. So it's just a privilege and a joy, and not something that I ever saw coming, but as it's developed in my life, I'm just so thankful for this craft and for this community. So, which on that note, thank you guys for being here and being part of this community and being part of the work that I do. I wouldn't be here without you guys, and I think y'all are fabulous. Just sidebar. And I would look up and like smile at you as I say that, except that I'm working on these feathers. Yes, Julie, it's interesting you mentioned depression. I had really yucky postpartum depression after both my kids. And with Jem, I didn't know what it was. We were a fortunate couple that we had 0 problems getting pregnant. We have a much harder time not getting pregnant than getting pregnant. And so right after Jim was born, I went back on birth control immediately. Even I had a lot of people being like, oh, you're breastfeeding, it's fine, you won't get pregnant. I was like, watch me. I was like, I'm not taking any chances. So I chalked what I now know was postpartum depression. I chalked it up to my birth control medication. And I started quilting in the midst of that, which then, the birth control, what we thought was the issue with the birth control medication became totally unbearable. And we were like, well, we're totally fine with having another baby. I'm just going to go off the meds. And that's how we have Ian. And my kids are 14 months apart. Because again, no problems getting pregnant. And then after Ian, because I knew I did not want a third 14 months later, I wanted to take a little bit of a break. First of all, I had to come up with alternate ways of birth control other than the pill, because the pill was very difficult. But also with that, I finally realized that what I had was postpartum depression. And definitely quilting has been a huge part of my coping journey. And I've got a few blog posts up about that if you dig back in the archives. I was on medication for a little while. Probably should have stayed on it a little bit longer than I did, but medication really freaks me out because my body doesn't respond well to medication. And so it was like this difficult thing of like I had all these issues with the meds, but I like had to be on the meds. So I was on them for like the shortest possible amount of time. But yeah, quilting is something that brings so much joy, and there's so much. One of the hardest things for me right after having kids, and that was a huge contributor to my postpartum depression, was the loneliness of being home. And we go out and about a lot, like from day one with Jem, because my mom knows me well, and I don't know that she would have been able to say like, you're going to struggle with postpartum depression, so you need to make sure you get out of the house. But something in her instincts, she was very clear with me of like, you've got to make sure you and that baby get out of the house every day. You need to walk in the neighborhood. You need to find an errand to go run, something. You need to go to the gym, whatever it is. And so I definitely was like getting some social interaction, but I still was very lonely in those early months. And for Ian, the postpartum depression lasted after him until about his second birthday, which for those of you who are doing the math, Ian's 2.5. So it's only been about 6 months that I would say the postpartum depression has finally like actually cleared and everything is finally rebalanced. And that's there's a few things that have contributed to that. But I know that whole journey would have been 20 times harder if I hadn't had my quilting community. Y'all have been a really valuable part of keeping my head above water for those 2 years emotionally. So again, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And for those of you that are here, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, postpartum issues, first of all, please don't hesitate to get the help you need. One of the hardest and yet best things that I did was going to my doc and saying, you need to give me medication. This is not right. I have 2 wonderful boys and a wonderful hubster and lots of social support. I've got a strong church family. My parents live like less than 20 minutes away. There's really no reason I should be having any postpartum issues. I had 2 very healthy deliveries. I healed up great, etc., etc. I was like, so something is wrong. So getting the help that I need, even though medication freaks me out, getting the meds was the best thing. Also, don't hesitate to just ask for us to rally around you, right? Like that's what we're here for. Like we do life together inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. And most of that life centers around quilting. But sometimes it's like, hey guys, I'm working on this quilt tonight because tonight is really hard. Is anybody else up? That's part of why I do the Friday night social hours, that if you are someone that struggles with not being able to get out much, or you just really need that extra company as you head into any part of your week, there's that live video to keep you company. It's there on replay as well, so you can just feel like you have a friend in your sewing room, because that's what I am, right? Okay. Hey Janet, coming in right at the end of that. Sorry guys, that was very long-winded, but just, I don't know, just thought I'd share. I think a lot of us find that quilting is very therapeutic, and I think that's beautiful. And I think that the act of creativity itself is therapeutic, but I think there's an element of the community around quilting that makes it very therapeutic as well. So I'm really thankful that that can be a big part of everything going on here at String and Stories, this focus on community with you guys and community amongst yourselves. Because we have this beautiful thing that we love. And it's a delight to do it together, right? All right, I'm gonna finish this block, and then what time do we have? Yep, I'm gonna finish this block, and then I'm gonna pop this off. And by that I mean I'm gonna very carefully break thread, and then I'll show you guys what I've been doing. I'm feeling something under here. Okay, making sure that I'm not quilting my quilt to itself in any way. Hey Anne, I see that you're back. I'm glad that you're back. Making sure I didn't miss anything. Wonderful. And again, working my way up the side of this half square triangle, using it as a spine. It allows me to just focus on the shape of the feathers and of nesting them nicely together. This is why I've been working on my next article for Make Modern magazine, because y'all might remember that I'm the new quilting columnist for them. And this whole idea of like using the spine or the seam for your spine, something where you can remove a piece of the puzzle to make everything else easier. It's the same reason why I talked to you guys about using doodling to master your free motion quilting motifs before you actually start quilting them. Because then when you do the quilting process, you can focus on things like your needle speed and moving the fabric, but the actual shape of the design is already second nature because you took care of that on paper. So as much as we can kind of break apart these steps and build on our skills, it makes everything much more manageable, right? The small stash actually has enough pieces for your Aldebaran quilt. Woohoo! Yay, Teresa! I'm so excited. Patsy, you've been so long since you quilted, you're definitely in need of remedial training. Well, it's a good thing you're here, Patsy. It'll come back faster than you think, though, friend. Before I started this series, it had been a very long time since I've been on my domestic quilting, and I was absolutely amazed at how quickly it came back. My friend Andy just says it's just like riding a bicycle, and I think that's very true. It comes back before you know it. And Patsy, in your situation, do the same thing. You know, give yourself that warm up on paper before you go to your machine. You struggle not to fall back into depression when you first lost your sight. Getting out with your dog. Yes, getting outside helps so much. Oh, yes. But then losing your friend. Oh, Lynn, I'm so sorry. Lynn, I'm so glad you're here with us, by the way. And I love, so as Lynn mentions here, for those of you who are new or who don't know Lynn very well, Lynn, you're legally blind. Is that correct, Lynn? Do I have that right? So Lynn has very little eyesight. And Lynn, you've given me such a new perspective. Every time I think about a technique, I think about you, because I'm always thinking of like, okay, here's how I do this, but how am I going to help Lynn do this? And I love that. So thank you for giving me that gift of having to look at something differently and having to look outside of like myself and my own little bubble. That's a gift that you give me, Lynn, to challenge me to think of new ways and new techniques to do things. I'm really thankful for that, Lynn, so thank you. And I'm just so happy for you, the way that things have been better and that you're feeling stronger. I think that's so beautiful. Yes, legally blind. Okay, I had that right. I wanted to make sure that I had that right. I sometimes say that I'm nearly legally blind, but that's, I've learned from Lynn that that's really not a very accurate way for me to describe my eyesight. I have very, very bad eyesight, but I'm fortunate that corrective lenses still make a very big difference for me. And Lynn, I have to say too, you're also an encouragement to me, because one of my deep fears is that I will lose my eyesight. I turn 27 next month and my eyesight is still deteriorating. Not as badly as it once was. When I was in elementary school, when my eyes first started going bad, I was having to get new glasses every 3 to 6 months. So like they were deteriorating very, very quickly. And it's not that bad, but they always kind of told me that once I hit my early 20s, my eyesight would stabilize. And it has not totally stabilized. It's still very slowly, but at least to me, noticeably getting worse. And so one of my fears is that I will lose or largely lose my eyesight. But seeing that you're still quilting, because for most of my life I was a painter and not a quilter. And so for a long time I was like, what am I going to do if I go blind, like, or if I go legally blind, if I get to the point that like corrective lenses are no longer able to kind of bring me up to snuff. But you encourage me that I will still be able to quilt. I'll have to adapt my methods, but I can still quilt. I love that. So thank you for being an encouragement, Lynn. And thank you for just sharing your spunky spirit to keep going. I love that. All right. Here's where we're at, guys. Hopefully y'all can see some of the texture holding it like this. So I did, how many blocks did I do? 1, 2, 3? Yeah, did 3 blocks. I was unsure how I would feel about this quilting plan, guys, but I'm really liking it. But the real fun, as y'all know, happens on the back. There we go. So you can see the way that I chose to do this quilting design, it really emphasizes that center diamond shape. The other thing it emphasizes, and it's a little harder to see in this light, but I left those centers of yellow and orange, I left those unquilted, just to let them pop. You know, y'all know I've been playing with that with this quilt, of leaving things unquilted to let them pop. If you have never done feathers before, like I said, this is a great way to practice. I highly encourage you to give it a shot. All right, any final questions, guys, before I wrap up? I will run through my reminder list one more time. Oh, thank you, Lori. If you have any final questions, go ahead and ask. I will see you tomorrow night. I gotta think about what day it is. Hey, Christine, we're just getting ready to wrap up. But I'm glad you're here. And you can catch the replay. There'll be a replay available in just a couple of minutes. So, I will be inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group tomorrow night to start our Aldebaran Quilt Along. Make sure that you answer the question of the week, which is listed in the caption of this video. One, because I want to know what you struggle with when it comes to choosing fabrics and colors, because we're going to be talking about that in our next video series, and I want to make sure that I answer your pressing questions. But 2, you'll be entered to win a copy of this pattern. Dun da da da! And if you enter, but you already have a copy of this pattern, then you can pick another pattern. Okay, so Quilt Along starts tomorrow night. I'm not making any promises because I have to see how the kids do this evening, but I will tell you, I still, as you can see, have to do my preparation for the Quilt Along tonight. If I'm doing that at a relatively reasonable hour, and if my kids are asleep and not hollering in the background, I might do a little bonus live tonight of me pressing and cutting and making my string blocks. So just keep an eye on the group. I will try to announce it if I'm like, I'm definitely going to be able to do that. I can't say for sure right now because, as I mentioned, Hubster's been out of town all week and the kids are really starting to miss him. They had a lot of trouble going to bed last night. So if they have a lot of trouble again, it may not happen, but we might be able to work on this together tonight, which would be super fun. And hopefully tempt a few more of you to join us. The more the merrier, as always. So yeah, I'm hopeful. We'll see. I think that would be really fun. We were talking about loneliness a few minutes ago. One of the things that's really starting to drag on me with Hubster being gone is just getting lonely. So y'all can come keep me company and we can sew together and it'll be beautiful. So answer the question to enter the giveaway and to just help me out to make sure that this next series is going to be as useful as possible for you guys. Make sure you check out this week's blog. There's a link up there to the Aldebaran quilt pattern. So if you're like, you know what, I'm in, I want to make that quilt, you can go get yourself a copy of the pattern right now. If there are, oh Patsy, I can help you with that. Also, that's why we've got a Quilting Rockstars Facebook group, as I'll be talking about. Yay, Tina. That would be so fun, right? So I tossed out a bunch of resources today and just like verbally gave you links. If you are wanting to go find some of those resources and you're like, yeah, I totally did not catch that link, please don't hesitate to send me a message or an email and say, where can I find, you know what, I will, let me write them down. Paper, do I have paper? Here we go. Okay, I need to post, let's see, what did I mention, guys? I mentioned feathers. I mentioned intro. Did I mention any other resources? Anybody remember? I will try to post those over on the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. This video is shared over there, and I'll put a post up with some additional links, because I know I tossed out a bunch of resources at you guys. Sometimes it's hard to go find those links later. Also, if you enjoyed this video today, if you enjoy hanging out together, having company in your sewing room, and having free classes available here every Thursday morning, please hit like and share on this video so that more quilters can come join us. This is a very much the more the merrier kind of atmosphere. Speaking of which, and the more the merrier. If you're not a member of the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group, there is a link already to that in the caption of this video. Please click that link and answer the questions to join the group. I would love to see you over there. We do social hours every Friday night. Might do a bonus social hour tonight. We do quilt-alongs, and it's a wonderful place to share your work, to ask for help, to just generally enjoy hanging out with other quilters. So I hope that I'll see you there. Everyone, have an absolutely wonderful Thursday. Hang on one second. I'm making sure. Yay, Nancy, you got your pattern. You're wondering what you need to do to prep for tomorrow. Ideally, you would cut out your triangles and cut out your string blocks. If it doesn't happen and you want to work on that during the live tomorrow night, that's totally fine, because these blocks come together really fast and you can easily play catch up by the next week, okay? So yeah, all right. Y'all, have an absolutely wonderful Thursday. I'm so glad that you are here with me. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being part of the Quilt Your Own Adventures series. It will be a few months until we do free motion quilting on Thursday mornings again. So got some other stuff coming up, but as always, don't hesitate to use my classes and ebook as resources and to ask any questions you have inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. Have a wonderful Thursday, guys. Bye.